Welcome, everyone. My name is Teresa Kavanaugh. I'm the City Councilor for Bay Ward, and it's my pleasure to host this really fun evening of chatting with some amazing women in our community. I'd like to start off by giving an Indigenous land acknowledgement. I wish to acknowledge that Ottawa is located on unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, whose ancestors have lived on this territory for millennia and whose culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. Thank you. Yeah, we have some excellent people, and I can't wait to tell you about them. So I'll start off with telling you a little bit about each one of them. I'm going to start off with Sue Holloway, who was originally born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but moved to Ottawa, where she grew up, and is a four-time Olympian, the first woman in the world to ever compete at both the Winter and Summer Olympic Games in the same year, where she competed in cross-country skiing and kayaking in 1976. She's represented Ontario at the Canada Winter Games, 1971, skiing, and joined both national teams for skiing and paddling in 1973. In 1975, Sue was Canadian champion in skiing and kayaking. The following year, she was selected to represent us at 1976 Innsbruck Olympic Winter Games in the 10-kilometer cross-country ski race and the 4x5 relay. She returned to Canada and that summer raced in the 1976 Montreal Olympics in the kayak 500 meter and the kayak 500 meter. 1979, Sue was the first woman to compete in the challenging all-male Molokai Ho race in Hawaii, finishing third. She focused on kayaking, intending to make it to the 1980 Olympic team, but that was defeated when Canada boycotted the games. That was the Moscow Olympics. Not only could she not compete, but was unable to carry out the honor of being the nation's flag bearer for the opening ceremony. But instead of giving up, she continued to train and qualified for the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games, where she won silver in double kayak 500 meters and bronze in 4 kayak 500 meters. Sue retired after ending a 14-year career as an athlete. She began coaching, motivational speaking, and working with the Canadian Olympic Committee, where she developed a career planning programs for national team athletes. And she has worked tirelessly to help youth with the focus of inspiring kids to get physically active. And I can vouch for that. Sue was inducted into the Canadian Olympic Hall of Fame in 1986 and received the Order of Sport Award from Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 2016. Now, Judy Dudley is the volunteer president and founding member of the Britannia Winter Trails, a community-led, volunteer-run urban winter trail. Judy is a proven advocate of physical and mental health, encouraging people to get outside during our long winters by utilizing the multi-use trails for many activities, including cross-country skiing, winter biking, and walking. The creation of the trails responds to some of the barriers experienced by racialized and marginalized communities to outdoor activities, and where Judy has been providing free cross-country ski lessons and equipment and ensuring everyone has free access to this winter activity. Judy has tirelessly volunteered her time to make this trail a reality for her community, who have benefited from having a safe space to use during the winter months. Before being elected president, Judy was a marketing and communications professional, providing her skills to both private and public sectors, creating strategies and products to a variety of corporations, improving their bottom line and creating awareness. Judy is also an avid kayaker, swimmer, and cross-country skier, and recognizes the benefit of outdoor activity on her own mental health, and is an advocate to all to get outside. And her greatest joy is her grandson, her daughter, and her son-in-law. And next we have Rowan. Aligami. Rowan is a grade 12 student at Notre Dame High School. She works in her school and at a local retirement home. She has held a variety of student leadership roles through the Equity and Inclusion Committee, the OCSB Student Senate, and the Black Student Advisory Council in the Ottawa Catholic School Board. She is an active member of her school's Safe School Committee and is an executive student council member. Rowan plans to pursue a post-secondary career in international development and globalization, with long-term goals to work as a diplomat with the United Nations and to volunteer abroad with UNICEF. Amazing. Rowan is committed to making sure that Black students within the school board feel safe, respected, and comfortable. Heritage Davidson. Heritage is a grade 12 student at Notre Dame Catholic High School. Heritage is a leader in the Notre Dame Leadership Program, where she has the privilege of supporting and mentoring younger students through the school's partnership with Dovercourt Community Center. She is an executive member of the Student Council, the Black Student Association, the Safe School Committee, and is a delegate to the School Board Black Student Forum event. Through her academic journey, she has consistently demonstrated commitment to excellence, achieving a number of academic and athletic awards. She looks forward to pursuing post-secondary studies in international and global development and an honors in global politics. Heritage is committed to the importance of learning and volunteering. Very impressive. This is wonderful, and I'm just thrilled that we have you here. The theme this year of International Women's Day is Inspire Inclusion. So I think we have some great people for doing that. Some of the things that have been going on in terms of that actions in areas that have groups is shaping women's economic empowerment, recruiting, retaining, and developing diverse talent, supporting women and girls in leadership, decision-making, business, designing and building infrastructure meetings the needs of women and girls, helping women and girls make informed decisions about their health, involving women and girls in sustainable agriculture and food security, providing women and girls with access to quality education and training, elevating women and girls' participation and achievement in sports, promoting creation and artistic talent in women and girls. We all have the responsibility to encourage individuals to challenge stereotypes and biases, both in the workplace and in society, by recognizing and appreciating the unique contributions of each person, regardless of their gender. So we have so much here, so much talent. We need to celebrate diversity and recognize that women are diverse in background, experiences, and goals. So tonight we're going to hear from these four very special women and how they inspire inclusion and discuss the benefits of having diverse perspectives, experiences, and talents, and how they contribute to innovation and problem solving. We can celebrate the intersectionality of women by acknowledging and respecting the unique challenges faced by women of different ethnicities, abilities, sexual orientation, and social economic backgrounds. So what a great way to celebrate International Women's Day. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to let Sue tell us about herself, and I believe that she's going to have a presentation. So here's Sue Holloway, our Olympian.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and thank you for this opportunity to chat with you all about my area in terms of inclusion, women and girls in sport. I was very fortunate to grow up with amazing parents. So this is mom and dad taking me to a kayak race. That's my beautiful fiberglass boat. My mom was a phys ed teacher. My dad, he came from a very athletic family, and they both did everything to encourage me to be active. My mother was an example of someone who rode her bike to work all the time, and she played tennis, she swam, she was an outstanding, very, very active person and a very good athlete, although she always claimed she wasn't competitive. My father, I'm sure that's where I got my competitiveness, also very active. My brother and I had a natural built-in sport adversary, which my little brother, who turned out to be 6'3". So my younger brother, we did everything together and did lots and lots of sports. Ottawa is just the best place to be physically active. We have, and Judy will talk about the wonderful system of urban trails, but when I was a little kid, we've got so much green space, and we've got so much water and recreational space. It's absolutely brilliant and a great place for an athlete. So as a kid, I got into skiing when I was very little, and up at Camp Fortune, and then got into and then started training and made the national team for skiing. And then I lived beside the Rideau Canoe Club, and one day went over to the canoe club, and I recognized that kayaking was a great crossover and cross training. But actually, I just went over to see the cute boys, and so it seemed like a good plan. And then I started. I went out in a boat, and I loved it, and it was right beside my house. Became very easy. So kayaking, I'd done many sports growing up, but eventually, as I got older, I focused in on skiing and kayaking, and then eventually, as Teresa said, I chose, after my first Olympics, I chose kayaking, and it worked out very well for me. Sport has the power to transform lives. It can show you who you are and what you can be, and it can unite us and bring us all together, and it can inspire us, and it brings out the best in individuals, and it also and our communities. So it brings us all together. And we were just talking before about everyone coming together. My ski club is hosting the national championships, and everybody's coming out to help us find snow from wherever we can. And it can be transformative for people. So it has that potential, but we have to make sure that that's available to girls and women as well as the rest of the community, because otherwise they're not going to be able to take advantage of it. And I wanted to bring to your attention a report that was done by Canadian Women in Sport, an organization that promotes women in sport and physical activity. And they did a report after the pandemic, looking at what was going on with girls and women in sport. And as we come up to the Paris Olympics, I say it can be transformational. So when the last time the Olympics were held in Paris, there were 5% of the women at the Olympic Games. 5% of the athletes were women. And for the first time ever going into Paris, women will make up 50% of the athletes at the Games. So that's a big effort that's being done to make sure that the Games are equitable, but the Olympic Games are not necessarily our lives. So when we go back and talk, and that's what the Rally report did, when they went back and talked to people, coaches, administrators, participants, parents, they came up with some really important findings. And even though we did see a bounce back of girls' participation in sport after the pandemic, girls and women still have a much lower participation rate than boys and men. They found also that everyone wanted sport back, but they weren't, it kind of changed the way we see things, right? So they wanted sport back differently. And they also recognized from this report that we're just not prepared and not equipped to address the needs of girls. And that's disappointing. So when we look at, and there's a lot more information in this study, so I highly recommend you have a look at it, but just in terms of the intersectionality of it all, looking 10% of racialized girls reported counting almost every barrier to sport more than their white peers. Girls with disabilities are getting more stigma and have more difficulty getting to sport. In terms of those from lower income, there's serious barriers related to access and as well as just harassment that they are experiencing. And those who identify as 2SLGBTQ plus also have found may have negative experiences and are more likely to avoid sport. So these are the realities of what many people are dealing with. And just to kind of put a highlight, what are the barriers for 13 to 18-year-old girls? And this is when people are young women, girls and women are making decisions. They're making decisions that last for a lifetime. So it's important, and that's where I spend a lot of my time, is working with young girls, because I recognize that making a difference then can make a difference for their life. So body image concerns at this level, at this age, when their bodies are changing, are a barrier. Safety, that's primarily harassment and bullying. Lack of confidence and skill, we see this throughout a lifespan. So for girls and women as well, their lack of confidence in their skills. And the quality of the sport opportunities are major barriers, and injury as well. And I'll just finish by saying we can and we must do better. There are lots of ways, and we can talk about them later, but for these young people who I just spent a weekend with away at a ski meet competition, they are, I mean, it's cliche, but they are the future, and they are excited, and they've got energy, and they're amazing. And there's lots of things we can do to make sure that our systems and our opportunities are more equitable for all of them. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow, that's a great start. And even though we've made progress, there's lots of work to be done. Thanks so much, Sue, for all your work on these issues. You've had a illustrious athletic career, but you're pushing for the next generation, and I really appreciate it. So I think this is a good time to hear from Heritage, and if you can tell us about yourself and what is inspiring you.
Hello, my name is Heritage, and I'm very excited and honored to be here today. So I am originally from Nigeria, and I moved to Canada in about 2018 with my mom and my siblings. So I attended many schools in the OCC district, but as of right now, I am in my last year of high school at Notre Dame Catholic High School. And I've had many opportunities and privileges of being in various school activities that are all important to me. As said earlier, I'm part of the ND Leadership Program, which works on being mentors to grades 7 and 8, as well as going to feeder schools to encourage the graduating grade and coming to Notre Dame, like we did just earlier today, Rowan and I. I'm also a part of the Black Student Association and the Safe School Committee. And BSA basically provides a platform of promoting diversity and creating an environment where Black students, as well as young Black women, feel represented. So these initiatives are very important to me because they provide opportunities for young women like me and Rowan to build important skills such as confidence and like the ability to advocate for ourselves and others, and providing opportunities for women like us to take leadership roles and organize events like our Be a Temp show, which happened like just a few weeks ago, which turned out really great. And I'm very like honored and excited to be here. Thank you. So to me, inspiring inclusion means like lifting each other up and celebrating our differences and standing together in solidarity as women. It also involves acknowledging and correcting like restrictions against women based on race, ethnicity, or status. And lastly, it involves like expanding our voices and of underrepresented women and bringing light to their accomplishment and contributions. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. And Appreciate you being here and telling us about yourself. So next we'll hear from Rowan. And yes, tell us about yourself and how you're inspiring inclusion.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, like I previously said. And it was so great to hear from everyone who spoke and all the insightful information that came. So, just some more background information. My name is Rawan Alajimi. I'm from Sudan. I'm in grade 12. I go to Notre Dame High School. And obviously, I am in many leadership positions. And this is why I feel like I am in a position where I'm able to speak about inspiring and inclusion within our society as women. So I hold a former position as a co-president for my school student council, as well as being the lead for BSA in my school, and then as well as holding a senior leadership position for leading all of the leaders of BSA within the OCSB Catholic School Boards. And then what I can also talk about is my contributions to my school society. So obviously I contribute with ND Leads, like Heritage said, we just went and we did a school visit. So what I think inspiring inclusion is I think it is celebrating women. So celebrating women all the time, because everyone's accomplishments are accomplishments. So recognizing that your accomplishments and being happy for one another and really building that sense of love between you guys. And like Heritage said, it is bringing voice for those who don't have any. So what I can say is, for example, where I come from, Sudan right now is going through a civil war, and a lot of my cousins, they don't have access to education. They're sitting at home, they're not doing anything. So what this is for me, this is inspiration for me to work harder in my education, to be grateful for my education, because I know that people out there don't have access to the resources that I have. So for me, it means standing up and being something great to represent and be a inspiration for those women that are coming after me. It means when people see me, they can say, oh, I hope to be like that. I hope to accomplish my dreams. Even for those whose dreams are pushed so far away from them, I want to be that hope, that inspiration, that they are able to one day succeed to accomplishing their dreams. And with this, I can talk about another experience of mine. Is I formerly held a support position. I was a support worker with a child, a 7-year-old child who had development delay, and that was such a humbling and like it was such a wonderful experience that I've had, and I'm so grateful that I've had this experience. This experience allowed me to recognize to see the happy moments that life has to offer, and to recognize those that you love in your family. Because the kid that I worked with, he was constantly smiling. When people looked at him, they felt pity for him. But that's not what I felt. I felt like inspiration by him. I felt that the way he smiled, the way his smile lit up a room, it made me feel, it wanted me to have that feeling, that that's the feeling that I want to give to those young girls who look up to me. So what that made me say is, what inspiring inclusion is creating a sense of inspiration and just acknowledging and being proud of the woman in your life, and knowing that a lot of them, for example, my mother, she came to a new country where she didn't know anything or anything like that, but she was able to become my biggest source of inspiration. And it's just recognizing those women for who they are and being proud of them for doing what they do. So that's what inspiring inclusion means for me in International Women's Day. And I'm so grateful to be here with everyone right now, for everyone to recognize their outstanding leadership and recognize how important they are as a woman, and the amazing things that they bring and the amazing accomplishments that they have accomplished, and just to be proud of themselves. So that is what this means to me, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you so much, Rowan. That was great. Wow, so inspirational. Next, we have Judy Dudley, who's going to tell us about herself.
Hi, thanks, Teresa. I really liked what Rowan said with regards to helping people accomplish their dreams. My dream as a 16-year-old was trying to get to the Olympics in swimming, which I didn't quite get there, but was very close. The other dream that I had after that was to work in outdoor recreation. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that, but now I'm doing that in my retirement, working in outdoor recreation, and my dreams are now being fulfilled at the grand old age of 60 something. I won't mention the actual number. But I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity that has come my way. Through actually, thanks to Teresa for this. At one point, you probably heard the story. She posted something on Facebook asking the community if anyone was interested in running a winter trail, an urban winter trail. And a bunch of us got together for our first few meetings, and we were all very enthused to make this happen. We came up with what our vision is, which is to engage and encourage. And I should know this off by heart, but I don't. I've written it down. Engage and encourage our community to get outside and be active during our long winter months, to improve both their physical and mental health, which is really important, and develop and foster community spirit. So how we've been doing that, of course, we've created this trail that is a multi-purpose trail, and we welcome everyone from dog walkers, skate skiers, cross-country skiers, and of course our fat bike friends with the fat tires who are out there biking. What I love about our trail is that it runs right through the community, and it is a space, a safe space for everyone to get outside and enjoy in the winter. I personally feel I've been living in this community for 15 years. I really feel like I have a community now. I walk down that pathway. It's our sidewalk, winter and summer, and everyone says hello. I think we have the friendliest community in all of Ottawa. So for that, I'm really grateful. The other way that we're trying to create community and be inclusive is through programming. So for the last 3 years, we've been running free kids ski lessons with the equipment, because most kids, many children don't have the equipment. We've also started doing adult lessons. So it's basically learn to ski programming to try to get new Canadians, new community members out to learn how to ski. So we've had great success with that program. It's very inclusive, and we're thrilled to offer that. Another thing that Sue had mentioned is looking at the needs of girls, and I want to jump on that a little bit. With what we're trying to do is ensure that everyone has the opportunity to get outside, so that everyone has the opportunity to try cross-country skiing, to get them out in a new sport. We're teaching kids from 3, and our eldest first-time skier was from Africa, and she was 82. So it's quite diverse, and we're working really hard to engage that programming and bring it back to the community, ensuring that everybody has the opportunity. Another program that was new for us this year, it's something we've been wanting to do, and we're all volunteers, so it's a matter of getting our volunteers together, getting the equipment together. But we've started doing an introduction to skiing with the schools that are on the trail. So 2 schools this year were able to participate. We got great feedback. They're all reaching out, wanting to borrow our equipment, which we'll happily lend them once we have some more snow. I think I'm the only person in Ottawa that's begging for snow at this point, but I'm still begging for snow. I want one more big snow dump. So we're trying to be very inclusive. We participate in safe sport to make sure that everyone is safe. We practice what they want us to do to make sure that everyone has a safe space and able to follow procedures to enforce that as well. So overall, with regards to promoting women, we're 50%. We have a board of directors. We're 50% women on the board of a variety of ages as well, and 50% male. What I'm really excited about as well is one of the things that we're doing is trying to encourage women in a non-traditional role, which is snow grooming. we have 4 female snow groomers, and I don't know, maybe Sue can help me out with the numbers, but on all the community groups or all the snow groomer groups that I'm part of, we're seem to be the only ones that I can find that are snow groomers out there, other than my good friend Cheryl, who's now the president of another urban winter trail. And she grooms occasionally for Kitchissippi as well. So I think there's 5 of us in Ottawa, female snow groomers. We may be the only ones in North America. I'm going to try to validate that though at some point, but we're getting there. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Very inspirational. So I'm going to ask a few questions to all of you, and I'll pick on you. I'll give you an opportunity to answer. I wanted you to give specific examples of when you were feeling inspired by someone who championed inclusivity in your life. So I'm going to start with Heritage.
So a specific example and when I feel inspired is when I look at my mom. So she's a single mother of 4 of us, and she works like really hard to try to make sure me and my siblings have everything. I feel like she's very limited to what she can do as of right now based on her educational background. But when I look at her, I feel very inspired to become like a really, really, really like great person, so she can look back and she can be proud of me, and also so she can have the life that she didn't get to experience. And I also see that in my grandma as well, because she also made sure that her children like are where they are today. Like she's the reason why we are like here in Canada, because back home like life isn't that easy, like when it comes to like education, like Rowan was saying. And like I'm very like glad that I have this opportunity. But yes, I definitely look up to my mom and my grandma, and I hope I can make them proud one day, and I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah.
That's great. I'm gonna jump over to Sue.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to a Bay Ward resident. There are many people, and like Heritage, I look to my mother. My mother was amazing, and I just never thought there was any reason I couldn't do something. And my dad also encouraged me. But I've chosen someone in your ward, and that's Louise Hein Schmidt, who is one of the first, was in the first group of women firefighters. And firefighting is still very, so at the time, there's probably like 5% women or 3%. Well, there was no women in the Ottawa Fire Department, but now, and Louise was part of that first cohort. And now she's the deputy captain. She's the deputy captain. She's second in command. So she's done very well, and but along the way, she started the fire camps for girls. She's been a president of the Women Firefighters Association for Canada, and she has made a real difference in the lives of female firefighters. So, and fighting all the time and so hard to get a place for women in the fire service. So I just, Lou and I are very good friends, and I've heard her personal story many times, and over the years. And I just think that that has been a very hard fight, and it still has, unfortunately, a long way to go, but she really inspires me.
Wow, that's a great story. And yes, I'm familiar with Louise. That's great. Rowan.
Hello, hi. So who inspires me? So obviously the answers that were given were so amazing, and I'd like to say that the relationship between my aunt and my mom, so my mom and her sister, that is what inspires me. So as you know, my mom, she came to Canada while her sister was in Sudan, and just recently while this war was happening, my mom had lost touch with her sister, and this was something that I saw her struggle with. And what was it that really caught my attention was how the caring that they have for each other, the love that they have for each other, the way that they are always pushing each other to succeed. So currently my mom, she works as a PSW, and every time my aunt would call her, she's always encouraging her to pursue further, like pursue like continuing her education, and she always wants the best for my mom. And the same goes for my mom. She's always talking to her sister, and they want the best for each other. And especially since they lost their parents at such a young age, and they were more of the older siblings in my family, they held that leadership position, and they were a motherly figure towards the rest of the siblings. So what inspires me in their relationship is the love that they have for each other, and that encourages me to want to pursue like a sisterhoodly bond within the women in our community. And this is something that is so important for me, because I want people to recognize, especially women, it is already harder enough for us in a society where we don't want to be, fighting against each other, but instead I think it's important to watch each other's success and be happy for their success as if it's your own. So their relationship and the love that they have for each other and the care that they have for each other is what inspires me, and is something that I want to work towards within the relationships that I have with women in my life. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. So yeah, you're an inspiration of your own. Don't forget that. I'm going to ask a question about men. Can they be allies in promoting inclusivity and inspiring women to reach their full potential? I'm going to throw that at Judy first.
Sure. Thanks. Yes, of course, I believe that they can inspire and they can be advocates for women. I've had many examples in my life. My very first swim coach was encouraging and inclusive. He inspired me actually in the concept of providing free programming, because I lived in a poor community in the East End, and he offered competitive swimming free for us. And that's what set me off on a lifetime of enjoying sports and activities. Another time in college, I had a college instructor. This is late 70s, early 80s, and I was studying radio and television broadcasting, and I had one advisor who wanted me to do on-camera techniques and wanted me to take programs of learning how to do makeup for being in front of a camera and learn how to perform in front of a camera. And I'm really nervous in front of a camera, and I'm really good on the technical stuff. And I wanted to take advanced technical operations, which was a course that no woman had taken before. And so I had to take 2 extra courses, the on-camera and the makeup course, in order to take this other technical course, which was more of an engineering course. And I had this one teacher who encouraged me to push hard and take the extra course and take this challenging course. And he actually invited me to be the technical producer on a television show. And again, at that time, there was no women doing technical productions or being a technical producer. So I was encouraged and influenced by these people in my early years, and they were men.
Great. I'm going to go to Heritage. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yes, Heritage.
Yes, so I do believe that men can be allies when it comes to like promoting like women. My brother is an example. So I have an older brother, and he is a father figure to me, and he is such an inspiration to me. And he tells me, like, usually when I feel down, like I had problems with like calculus class, he would come up to me and he would be like, Heritage, you got this, you're doing a good job, I believe in you. And like he would just like, he was like the person that I looked up to, and just hearing it from him made me want to like push harder. And yes, I do believe that. And another person is my grandpa. Before he died, he would always tell me and call me up, because for like about 6 years now, we weren't able to see him before he died. And I remember he would call me and he'd be like, Heritage, I know you're gonna be like, you're gonna be good to your little cousins. They're looking up to you. I believe in you. And just hearing that from like those men in my lives are like really important, and they definitely pushed me and inspire me to be who I am today.
Well, thank you so much. Sue, I'm sure you have some stories of some of how men can be allies promoting inclusivity.
Absolutely. And I think it's essential that men are allies. They're half the population. They're in positions of power. And it's so much education and just awareness that, you know, we have to break the mold. And unfortunately, the mold has really, not unfortunately, but the way it is the mold has worked for men. And so getting men to let go of their privilege and their power is not easy. It takes a very strong man to be able to do that. So we have to look for those strong men who are confident and who are capable to be able to make those changes, because changing the current structure is not necessarily good for men. So we have to show them how or they don't perceive it to be, but in fact it is. It's better. And we've seen in so many ways how our economy is better, decision making is better when there is equity. We make better decisions when women are involved, when there's equitable, when everyone is involved. And companies that have equity, that are equitable, also have better bottom lines. So there's lots of good reasons to upset the power structure. It's just not always perceived that way. So I think that it's essential. And I've been very fortunate to have many men who have raised me up, and that's what has to happen. You have to have people raise you up to be able to succeed. And I've had many men like that. And like Heritage and Round said, they're fathers, and so my father was awesome. And Mike, I've had amazing male coaches who have believed in me and encouraged me and made me believe in myself. And that confidence is something that we all need. And I've been very fortunate to have some very important men in my life that have done that for me.
Great, thank you. And Robin?
Yes. So again, like Sue was saying, I believe that the support from men to allow women to exceed is essential, like Sue was saying. So a personal experience I can pull away from is how I see my father and how he goes about his life. So my father is a person who works really hard. He works day and night to allow me and my family to be in the position that we are. And when I see him and the way he treats my mother and the way he treats me is something that's really inspiring, because I never felt growing up, I never felt that there was nothing I couldn't do because I was a woman. And that's something that I'm grateful for, because a lot of the time, like in their background and in their culture, in Sudan, there are limits to what a woman can do. And if a woman is too educated, it's seen as she's never going to get married, and that's the most important thing for them. But that's nothing like to what I've experienced growing up. But instead, it was more of the importance of education, and that is where my value of education comes from. It stems from the importance that and the value that my father held on education, the way he wanted me to pursue further education, because he knew and he believed that knowledge is power. So the way I see him going about his life, and the way I see him treating my mother, and the way he treats her with respect and allows her and is always motivating her to accomplish her goals, because even as time goes on, we still have goals that we set for ourselves. So I believe that overall, the men promoting women's success is essential, and it is something that is completely necessary. So yeah, that's from my experience, and I hope others can relate.
That's great. I have other questions, but I'm just gonna reach out and see if anyone wants to put either in the chat or raise their hand on if they would like to ask a question to the panel, either to all or a specific member of the panel. So I'll open it up, and I'll ask Georgie to help me if there's any hands up, because I can't see all of them. Got any hands up?
I don't have any hands up, but I do have a question for Heritage and
Oh, there's
Robin.
two. Mhm.
I'm wondering if each of you could give an example of what sort of inspired you when you became high school students to get motivated to be such great peer leaders.
All right. So something that inspired me is obviously when I was my another important factor as to why men are important in the supporting of success of women is my grade 10 math teacher. So this was during the time, Mr. Cafaro, this was during the time I was about to run for co-president, and co-presidency is a big step, and I was in grade 10 going into grade 11. So other students that would have done it would have been in grade 12. So I finally, when I got my co-presidency, I was the only 11th grader within Student Senate, and co-presidency led me to such amazing opportunities. But getting back at this, I was really indecisive as to whether or not I should pursue this big opportunity. But from support from him and him telling me that it's better to do it rather than regret it, it was such a push to success. And it was a push in the right direction, because I know if I didn't get that push, I probably maybe would not have access to the opportunities that I do have today. And it was just having that motivation from someone who I held in high regards meant a lot. And getting that push from them and them telling me that I can do it meant a lot to me. And then giving me that confidence to go ahead and accomplish that. And then later, after the long, tiring process and elections of co-presidency on my birthday, June 1st, I was notified that I was elected and had become my school's co-pres. And then with that, I had went to the OCSB Student Senate. And then from there, I accessed many opportunities, such as becoming a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee for the Ottawa Catholic School Board, and becoming a student representative for the Black Student Advisory Council within the school board, which I'm currently leading on this day. So what I'm trying to get out of this is one opportunity can lead to many more, and sometimes you just need that extra push from someone who believes in you, because sometimes people believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And in that case, it was my grade 10 high school math advanced functions teacher. So yeah, I'm really grateful for
That's amazing.
that.
That's amazing. Bravo. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing that. That's
you.
incredible. And on your
Um,
birthday too. What a great
for
present
me,
to
I would
find out.
say,
Oh, sorry, Heritage, go ahead.
I apologize for that. Um, for me, I would say it was when I saw my mom trying to take a grade 11 English course. So I remembered her, like, just so she can further her education and then go apply to university. I saw her and I saw how much she was struggling. Like, she would call me, she'd be like, Heritage, can you please help me with this? And just seeing her like in that position made me realize that, okay, I'm in a position where I feel like I can do a lot of stuff. And I also have friends, like, I'm very grateful for my friends, Rowan being one of them, like pushing me and encouraging me and telling me, Heritage, it's better to try than never to try at all. Like, sometimes like mistakes are lesson learned. So just having like really amazing people surrounding me, like the experience with my mom and also my older brother, like he also was finding like very hard to like go to classes and stuff like that. But just seeing like my mom like experienced that, knowing that, okay, there's like so much opportunities right in front of me. Like, I remember when we were called for the ND leads downstairs, like just taking that step led me to like being here today, like taking the step of joining BSA, of joining the Safe School Committee. Like, I'm just very grateful, and yes, that's for me. Thank you.
Amazing. And I love how I know you're in the same room, and I love how you and Rowan like just lift each other up, and Rowan's kind of nodding her head. And so just that empowerment of seeing two young women together supporting each other, that's amazing. I have goosebumps. You've motivated me and you've made my day. So thank you so much. You really give us hope for the youth of tomorrow, and your school and your friends and your family is so lucky to have each of you as peer leaders.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, guys. We have hands up with Sweta. Would you like to ask a question?
Yes, hi. Thank you. This is actually starting with, this is a great session, and thank you all the speakers for being there and motivating us to do something great. So I have a quick question. So I'm a mom of 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. My daughter is like very warm, innocent, kind, and polite person. She's like very good at heart, very soft spoken. I sometimes worry about, like, even if she goes like out or something, would she get bullied or some sort of those things. So I wanted to know, like, what I as a mom or we as a parent can do to build her confidence. Like, is there any tips that you guys can give? Now this is like open to the panel, like how can I build her confidence? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to start with Sue on that one.
Well, what a wonderful time in your life to have these beautiful young people growing up in front of you. And I think one of the things that builds resilience, because and the confidence that Heritage and Rowan talked about. We've heard that a lot, is the confidence. And I think that comes from challenge and by overcoming challenges. And so they have to be, of course, relative to the capacity of the child, but putting them in situations where they do fail and learning how to cope with failure, because that is a part of life, and that's what builds resiliency, and framing failure as a process, part of the process of succeeding. It's not something in and of itself, and it's never fatal. Well, it's hardly ever fatal. So we have to recognize that failing is fine, and failing will recover, and failing is not a reflection of you as a person. It's just what happened, and that you are still intact. So I think giving them opportunities to be challenged, and normalizing failure, and applauding their effort, even if it isn't successful in the end, I think builds resiliency and builds the capacity and the confidence, so that as they age and as they are faced with difficult situations, they then have internally what it takes to cope.
Great. We'll just ask quickly, because we're going to try and get to some more questions. Heritage or Rowan, do you have anything to add?
I think I can add just being comfortable, like allowing her to be comfortable in who she is, because a lot of the time growing up as a young woman in the society that we live in, where a lot of things are technology based, we look at other people and we often compare ourselves to them and say, oh, well, how come I don't look like this? Or when I look like this, then I'll be happy with myself. Or after I do this, I'll be happy with myself. So just stopping that and stopping like idolizing your future version of yourself and just focusing on loving who you are now. And then after that, accomplishments and you evolving as a person will come in the future. And then you can continue to love yourself and become healthier while you're doing it, So a lot of the time, I can give a personal example. You see other people on social media and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe after this happens to me, or after I do this, I'll be more happy with myself then. But it's just more about maybe focusing and allowing your daughter to be happy in herself as who she is right now. And then from there, confidence will come and builds up from there. So I'm not sure if that quite made sense, but I hope you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to another question, just because it's going to be hard to get more in if we ask everybody. Nobody minds that. Leslie, do you have a question?
I do. I have a question for Sue and for Judy. I'm 74, and when I look back over my life, we were very active as teenagers, as young women on our bicycles and on our skis, and then we started having families and we weren't as active. And every decade, the women were less and less active. So what have you been involved in encouraging women to carry on activity and sports and as they get older?
I'd love to answer this one. I think it's never too late to start. I was a single parent, raising my daughter out in the country and working downtown. So spending 2.5 hours driving back and forth to work. So I dropped my sports till I was about 46, when she was able to stay home alone a little bit. And I took up cross-country skiing again, which I hadn't done since I was a kid. And I took up mountain biking, and I took up snowboarding, and I took up golf, but I got active again once she was of an age that I could have a little bit of freedom. I don't think there's anything holding us back, except for ourselves. Start slow, get out there, and do it. I took up snorkeling, I've taken up yoga. For me, I want to have a long life, and physical activity helps me with my mental health, and that longevity. And it also helps me create community and being part of a community. So I just actually joined pickleball this week, and now meeting new people and having a new community there. So it's never too late to start. Like I said, we had people in their 70s, in their 80s out joining us and learning how to ski. So I would encourage you to get back out there. Even though, there's sometimes a gap as a parent, where we give up some of our time for our children's growth and health.
And my
Thank you.
life story is very much like yours. And the key for me was finding other women to
True.
do things with who would encourage me as well to keep going. And it has been a huge benefit, but I couldn't have done it without the encouragement and finding other people to do the sports with.
I agree. It's really important to find that little community.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sue, I know you have lots to add on that.
Well, and Leslie's part of my fitness class that I run in the fall for senior women, and part of my ski class that I run in the winter
Oh,
for older women. So, or women that can get out during the day, right, Leslie? So we, I think I think you're absolutely right. It's finding your tribe, finding your people who are like-minded, and in terms of their goals, right? That you enjoy hanging out with. Like, there's no fun being with people who are zipping ahead and you feel like you're dragging behind. You find people who are interested and interesting and to do your thing. Don't do something you don't like. Like, just because running is running, like, I hate swimming. I just don't like getting wet. And I know it's a really good activity, but I just don't like being wet. And so I don't do it. And I know it's really good and healthy and hard, I don't like running either. I don't do it. Love biking. I love every time I'm on my bicycle, I feel like I'm 10 years old. I just feel so amazing when I'm on my bicycle. Of course, I love skiing and paddling and all those different things, but finding my people who are ready and support me regardless. And then just finding things that are easy to do. So if there's too many barriers, if it's too expensive, if it's too far, if it's too, the weather, if it involves too much water, then, I'm not going to do it. So I find things where it's easy for me to do. And I think that's the thing with sport is if we're preparing activities for people is to reduce the barriers. And that could be safety, like I'm not going out as a single woman. I'm not going out at night in the park. Like, that's just stupid. I don't want to, and I don't, well, it's not safe. So I don't. So let's try and create places that are safe and inviting. And I think pickleball is certainly, as Judy said, but you just can't get on a court. I mean, there's no place in this city where you can find a pickleball court, but but it is
Okora
good fun.
Village. We're over there at Okora Village playing.
All right, I will look for Okora Village.
I agree what you said. Like you feel like a 10-year-old kid. I, started cycling again, and I was really happy to move here so that I could bike to work. I just want to say I'm the slowest cross-country skier on the trail, even though I'm the president. I'm probably the slowest cyclist in my little group of friends. I might be the better swimmer, but all those other things, I'm the slowest and I just don't care. And my tribe, as you put it, or my community is accepting of all. And we go at the speed. Nobody's booting off because they're faster and stronger. So I love the 10-year-old. I always say I'm a 12-year-old boy because I always have so much fun and the biggest smile on my face when I'm out there. Slowest, but happy all the time.
Well, try being an Olympian and have people and ask people to go skiing with you, and they go, "Oh, I can't go with you. You're an Olympic athlete." I'm going, "No, I'm not anymore. I am me." And so I find that, just breaking down those barriers too is important. And I will go any speed. I don't care, and I'm not that fast anymore. So just be happy, and there's always someone slower. For sure. I don't believe you're the slowest, Judy. I think there are slower people.
Well, you can come for a ski with me and I'll prove you wrong on that one.
Let's all go for a ski together. Okay.
Let's do it.
And Heritage, Rowan, you got to come too. I hope that you are inspired, Rowan and Heritage, that you stay active. One thing that I know about staying active is that, and I'm different from Sue, is I like running. And it stuck. I would never have known it. But what I didn't know is that I fell in love with the social aspect because I went out with people and I ran with people. And that's what made it stick, was that it was social. And I think that's an important secret thing that we're hearing is sports it keeps you fit, but it also is social and it builds your confidence and you're building it along with other people. And I see that both of you have been involved with athletics, and that's great, particularly Rowan, and keep it up. You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
very quickly, I also wanted to add another aspect to that. So you talked about the social aspect, and I also want to agree with you about its importance. So basically, for me, speaking on my personal experience, I always love when I go to my local gym's Zumba class, not because of, I love Zumba, obviously, it's an amazing active routine. But what I love about it is that there are women from all ages, different people, new people from different backgrounds, just enjoying some music, laughing, and dancing. And that's something that really caught my attention to it. So was that social aspect. So I just wanted to add on to that. And when Heritage and I brought her as a guest to my gym, it's just such a social place, and it's just such a warm place to be in because of the smiles that are on people's faces. So that's an important aspect that I wanted to add on.
Yes, because we need that as much in our life as the athletics is the social connections. We need to keep those up, and it's a great way to do it, a great healthy way to do it. So great to hear. Thank you, Rowan. That was perfect. That was a perfect add-on.
I'm looking up Zumba near me. That's what I'm looking up.
And one of the things that I learned to do for the first time when I was 68 was to swim well. And it was because a friend challenged me to try a mini triathlon. And I could run and I could cycle. I've been doing that all of my life, but I've never learned to swim properly. So I take swimming lessons, and 5 months later, we have the competition. And at that point, I can do the length of the pool, doing the crawl. But after that, I can't go any farther. I'm out of breath. So I spoke to a friend who had been a competitive swimmer at her university days and said to her, I have to swim 500 meters. What am I going to do? And she said, well, can you do the backstroke? And I said, sure, that's easy. She said, one length of the crawl, do the backstroke, catch your breath. You don't have to come first. Just keep going. And I did 500 meters and I amazed myself. And now I go swimming often and I love it. And I'm a 10-year-old playing in the water. I'm a mermaid. I love it. So it's never too late to learn to do anything.
And, Judy's promised me to give me some swimming tips at some point, and she hasn't come through yet. So I'm going to hold her to it this year.
Yeah, it'll be this summer. It was a bad summer last year, but it will definitely be this summer. And if anyone wants to come out, I'm always looking for new friends to go swimming with. So from the at Britannia Beach. So love to go and do some swimming with all of you. And I coached a couple of people last year. I was a coach for 5 years and a competitive swimmer for 10. Competed at the Masters at 46. I decided to get back in the pool. But now I like open water swimming. And again, we have the best beach in the city. So please come and join me anytime. Reach out.
I think that's something that we can all be happy about is Ottawa has got amazing features to get outside. And also, well, just in gyms and swimming pools, etc. We could use more. We were talking about that today at committee, but we need to keep people active, and it's great that you guys are taking advantage of it. I'm going to ask a question about your schools and how you feel that your school's doing in promoting and fostering inclusive environment for women. So that's a question mostly for Heritage and Rowan. Do you want to go first, Heritage? Oh, you're on mute. There.
Yes. Okay. So, honestly, if I'm being like truly honest, I do feel our school is doing a very good job when it comes to like, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. When it comes to like women feeling represented. So in our BSA, BSA Black Student Association, right now our two leads are women, which is Rowan and our other friend Amira, and our student council, our two co-presidents are also women, which is Amira and Gigi. And then in our Safe School Committee as well, it's I and Emanuela and also Rowan. So I do feel like honestly, I'm very grateful, and I do feel like we're also an example to young women, especially in grade 7 and 8. And I hope that when they look at us, they're able to be like, you know what, I can take up this role as well. And just making sure we represent like women, showing them that they are able to do whatever it is that they set their minds to is really good. So yes.
Yeah, and just adding on to what Heritage said, like even since last year, since I went to Student Senate, our school was the only school, I think our school and about 3 other schools were the only schools in the whole board, the whole of Ottawa Catholic School Board who had 2 girls as their co-pres. So just having that and having women in our society be in such a powerful position and a position of authority is just so amazing. And even if you think about our VPs, having them as representation, Mrs. Hollingsworth and Mrs. Klasavage, they are the 2 VPs, and they are just inspirations to us as young women in the school. And having these amazing teachers inspiring us, and always, it's never a question that whether or not a woman is going to succeed in our school, because we have so much representation of women succeeding, which is only encouraging younger grades and other women in the school to succeed, and only pushing them to, become what they want to become and have that inspiration.
Excellent. And I know both Judy and Sue have worked on making, in both your cases, making it more inclusive for women to be active. And so maybe you can just go on. I know that Judy has some stories, and I know Sue does too on that.
I have stories. Oh, I see Annie there. Annie knows I have stories. Um, yeah, I think it's really important to be inclusive. I think it's really important for all of us to get outside. Um, and I say get outside because personally I'm not a gym rat and I like to be outside. Um, Within this community, Annie, I just did a shout out to Annie. Well, Annie likes to paddle. I like to paddle. I met her through the community. She lives next door to one of our groomers. So we've gone out paddling a few times together. So for me, it's about being inclusive even within your community. I have neighbors on my street now. We go out paddling. We have stand-up paddle boards. We have paddles. We go swimming across the street. We go for walks. There's lots of stories on the trail, giving specifics. People write us and tell us that they have found a community now because of the trail. People who have struggled with their mental health, and I struggle with my mental health. So I get out on the trail every day and walk it, ski it, bike it, you name it, because the outdoors helps me with my mental health. During COVID, we were thanked over and over and over again with people saying that the trail actually saved some lives, in that they were so isolated and so alone, where they weren't alone all of a sudden. They were out walking a trail because it was the only place you could go. If you remember, we couldn't even sit on park benches when the pandemic first started, but people could walk the trail and they could say hello to people. So they didn't feel quite as isolated. They were included in a space that was safe for them to be part of. So that's a story.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I see Annie's raising her hand. Sorry, Annie. Oh, you're on mute.
Unmute. Okay. No, I agree. The trail has been wonderful. I remember trying to pull my granddaughter when she was about 2 or 3 on the bike path, and that was before the trail was being done, and it was awful. Like I could barely make it. It was all these big ruts of ice and snow, and now, it's so wonderful for walking. Skiing, it's wonderful. If you can't get up to the Gatineau, sometimes you just want to get out for an hour. It's perfect. And yeah, no, I love it. And I've met tons of people through it. And for biking, I also joined the Rideau Trail Association about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and have met tons of people through that, like outdoors, active people. And it turns out, almost there's so many people out there wanting to be active now, and a lot of retired women that are no longer have their husbands, or single women for any reason. And there's just so many clubs and activities out there now that you can be part of. And it was wonderful for Judy to invite me to her kayaking group and paddleboarding. That was quite fun.
Was fun.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
noticing here something that Rosalind wrote. A lot of the activities being free or low cost reduce
Yeah.
economic barriers for women to access
Ah.
activity for their physical and mental health. And that's
Totally.
exactly what we're trying to do with the
Yeah.
trail.
Oh, yeah.
We have free equipment. I've written a couple of proposals. We've got 75 sets of ski equipment now, so we lend them out as long as you sign some waivers, as well as reducing the barriers from a cost perspective, from equipment perspective. We're just trying to support everyone. And the majority of the people that are taking advantage of that, I'm very proud to say, are women and young kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I'm just going to hear from Sue, because I know she's got some stories as well.
Yeah, I think that what you just said about the urban trails are brilliant, because it's putting facilities in place that are accessible. And whereas before, you know, you had to drive to the Gatineau or whatever, or make your own trail. And I think that that's been really tremendous. So, but we have to recognize in a lot of our infrastructure and our built community, barriers and things that do not make it inclusive. So when in many suburbs and places, there's no sidewalk. You can't walk anywhere. You have to have a car to get places. We need to ensure that people are able to walk or bike. And if you have small children, you need ramps. You need ways to get in. If you have disabilities, if you have impairments, then you need to have facilities that are accessible to you. So we need to be very aware of our built infrastructure. And it's not just you know, the physical structure. It's other things that are more subtle. So I'm sure pretty much any of the women on this call, I mean, you're not walking across, you park as close to the door of the building as possible. So you're not going to walk all across a great big empty parking lot after Zumba or pickleball or whatever at night, because it's not something we do. We don't do those things. Men don't think about this, but creating a built structure that is friendly and inviting for women and children, or women with children, is important. And so my little story is I have a park, which is really fun. So and it got taken down, and there was a bit of a foofara, which was all good fun. But we got a new park built, and as we're building my new park, I said, well, the old park was behind some bushes, isolated from public view. So as a woman, I don't want people staring at me as I work out. So in some cases, we need to make that possible by having women only classes and whatnot. But for my park, I think I didn't want to be stared at, but I also wanted to be seen. I wanted people to be able to see me, and that I could see other people. So if I ever needed help, I could find them. But when you're behind a bunch of, it was very pretty, there were shrubberies and whatnot, but, I wanted, and so I ensured that there was I also insisted that there was a special light right at my little activity park, so that at night you would not be, or as dusk came, you would not be concerned about your safety. So I think a lot of times we need to reduce the barriers from a infrastructure, from a built infrastructure, from a timing perspective, to make sure that there are at times when women are available and able to go. And I know for girls who might have to get home after school, that there's availability for activities during lunch hour, that sort of thing. And we need to see women. And I think what Rowan was saying, that there's 2 female co-presidents, like that is just awesome. But you have to see it to know that it's possible, right? So making sure we raise up those women who are doing these wonderful things, and we recognize them, and they are celebrated, so that we see them more. And that's certainly in sport, where men's sport is just gets way more, like ridiculous amount more publicity than women's sport. And I think we're seeing with the women's hockey, professional hockey league, we're seeing a lot of, we need to promote and encourage and support those female-led activities.
That's great, Sue. And hey, we've got a professional women's hockey league. That means people are paying to see women do sports for a change. This is good news. This is good news. And it's inspiring for everyone, because I never thought it could be possible. Okay, tennis was pretty good, but we need that. We need more of that, and it's inspiring for all of us. We're going to wrap up, and I'm going to ask you each, what piece of advice would you give younger you? And in the case of Heritage and Rowan, well, I know you had a younger you. You're young, but you had a younger you. So what piece of advice, and maybe it's advice you already followed, but just something that to inspire you?
So I would tell my younger self to not be afraid to take risks. I think that is one important thing, and that is one thing that have gotten me to where I am. Like we were talking about earlier, like failing doesn't mean that like you should end. Like I remember seeing that the word fail means first attempt at learning. So like I want to tell myself to not be afraid to take risks. That one mistake is a lesson learned. And if it doesn't work out for me, I can always try something else. And another thing is comparison. I try to I want to tell my younger self to not compare herself, to learn to be who she is, be comfortable in who she is, to become who she like who others can look up to. Because I find it that it's really easy to compare ourselves nowadays, like Rowan was talking about earlier, about like social media and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, I do find myself doing that nowadays, but I really, really hope that my younger self would do that. And another thing is listening, and just listening to other people, hearing their story, reaching out to other people. If you feel like they can help, reach out to them. Never be afraid to seek help. And that's definitely one thing, a few things that I would tell my younger self.
Great, thank you. I'm going to jump to Judy.
Oh, okay. If I could give my younger self some advice, is just go for it. Figure out a way to make it happen and make it happen. As a young person, believe it or not, I was extremely shy. I didn't speak till I was 3, and then I didn't speak again, I think, till I was 18. And I started asking questions and I started speaking. And at that point, like, everything just took off in my life in a very positive way. But ask for help, find a mentor, go for it. You can do anything you want. And there's that TikTok thing going around right now. You know, if boys can do it, I can do it too. So there you have it.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Robin.
Yes, so adding on to what these amazing people just said, one thing that I would tell my younger self is that I should believe in myself. I should not undermine myself, and I should acknowledge my worth, because a lot of the times you get so focused in what you're doing, you forget to notice how far you've come. So one thing that I would definitely say is that it's important to reach out, like recognize the hard work that you've done and say thank you to your body for getting you this far, and acknowledging how amazing you are, and enlightening positivity within you. And once you're being positive to yourself, you'll see that you're able to spread that positivity towards others. So one thing that I think is really important, especially for me and others, especially what I'm going into, is I want to help people. So I need to acknowledge that I cannot help people if I don't help myself first. I need to make sure that I'm comfortable in myself, and that I am comfortable in who I am. And then from there, I'm able to radiate that positive energy when I'm positive myself. So yeah, just be comfortable in yourself and don't undermine yourself, and recognize your worth. That is one thing that I would tell my younger self.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to leave the last word with you, Sue.
Well, thank you, and such great messages from everybody. And so in addition to what they have all said, I would say, I'm trying to pick. There's so many things, but I would say find your passion. So find something you care about. Passion in life and purpose is so important to satisfaction and making a difference. So I encourage all young people to find what it is that you love, that matters to you, and not what matters to everybody else or to your parents or to your teachers, but finding out what matters to you, and what lights a fire in your soul, and then find a way to do that. Because if you can find a way to use your skills, so things you're good at, with something you care about, you are destined for greatness and a great life satisfaction. And I truly have found my passion in teaching and sharing, and I do that with people like Leslie and the rest of the women in that group. And then I also do it with the young skiers that I coach, who are they just fill my heart, and they fill me, because I'm sharing my passion, and that makes my life fabulous. So I'm very fortunate, and I would say that.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say to everyone, thank you for coming out. And we heard other people's perspectives as well. We can learn so much from each other. Really appreciate it. And please stick around. We're going to have the draws very shortly, and I'm going to hand it over to Georgie, who's going to do that. So hang in there for just a minute.
I'm just searching Zumba classes. Is free Zumba classes one of the draw prizes? Because I'm looking up Zumba classes.
Yeah,
Hey.
the Zumba class I go to, it's Movati Gym. So
Oh yeah.
it's with the membership, but I highly suggest you invest in Zumba classes. They're so amazing.